Now, I'm no physicist or musician, but I reckon we're at about here. C sharp. Hi folks, welcome to the Restoration Couple. Today's video, we're going to be looking at heating. I know it's nearly summertime, but we've got to do these things so we're ready for next winter. We are going to be looking at electrical heating in our cabin here. Stick around and I will explain all. So what we decided to do is make our own electric radiators. Electric radiators are not always the nicest looking things, certainly the dry ones. They're normally white, quite slabby and not very interesting to look at. Whereas if you want a bit more of a feature, then a column radiator that you can convert is ideal. I called ahead to the company I bought this radiator from just to check that it could be used with a heating element. And in actual fact, they sell this as a kit with an element. The only thing that I needed to request is to make sure that we've got a blanking plug for the other end. One of these, that will just be tightened on there, and then we end up with a sealed unit. So what's different about this video is the way that we're going to control these heating elements. So conventionally you would just put that heating element into a fuse spur and turn it on and off as one needed, or you might just put it on a simple timer. Drayton reached out to us and said that they had some products which might work quite well, and we thought we'd give it a go. This will work perfectly adequately with the 3 heaters that we're connecting to it, but you could have as many as you need to control the whole house, and that could be underfloor heating, wet central heating, or some towel rails and electric heaters, all on the same app, which I think is a big plus, because a lot of the times if you buy an electric radiator, like we did at the last house, they come with their own little inbuilt app, and they're not great. So the first element of it is this one, which is kind of like the controller. Now this is going to sit just in the utility room, and hopefully it'll talk to the other bits nice and easily from there. So as you can see behind me, already I've wired in this switch here. So we've got our supply coming out of this fuse spur. It will come into this switch, and then as soon as the courier shows up with my heating element, I'll be able to cut that to length, and that flex will just go out from here and straight into the side. It needs to be either beside the heater or underneath, and it can go horizontal or vertical. Right, first up we're going to get this bathroom radiator installed. Let me show you how we do that. This is the first one of our radiators to install. It's a conventional metal towel radiator that like you would normally plumb into your central heating. In this instance, because all of our heating in the building is going to be electric, we're going to be converting this using a few different bits and different components. But what we want to do first is get it hung on the wall. So we've got a blank in there, and that's the air vent. So we'll come back to those because we're going to fill this with some special fluid tomorrow. But I want to get on the wall first. We should be able to fill it with a funnel. So fortunately for me, behind my plasterboard I've got a sheet of OSB, so I can pretty much hang it anywhere I want to, although there are some studs in here we can pick up on as well. Okay, so I've allowed for my architrave that's still got to go on, and then I'm now in the middle of the wall. So the next thing to do on our smart radiator install is to get our heating element fitted. Now this is going to be purely electric. We don't have any wet central heating in the whole of this building. So for that reason we're just going with a simple element that comes in the bottom. And that's a pretty inexpensive way to go. This has been kicking around in a box in the workshop for a few years. This is a traditional sort of heating element. We have gone ahead and ordered a slightly larger heating element. This one's 800 watts, but it can be regulated down. So it's not a smart one, in as much as it can't be connected to Bluetooth or Wi-Fi in itself. And we have had a Bluetooth version of this in the past and it wasn't particularly good. So I'm glad that we've got the Wi-Fi system with the app to work on. Now you can't do this in just any old radiator. You need to have a radiator similar to a towel rail where you've got that column which goes up the side. And that means that you can get the heating element up inside that and there's space for it. Most modern typical standard radiators you wouldn't be able to do that. So the higher the power output on these elements, the longer they are. So of course you do need to make sure it's not too long for your towel radiator. Final thing to do to get this up on the wall is to get the 4 screws in there. Hold that thought, goats have escaped. Right, stay there. I've got radiators to fit. Right, goats back where they should be. Let's do a dry fit here. So I'm happy with it now, it's all in, it's plumb, but of course it will pull off the wall now, so the last thing to do is put the little grub screws in through the side tubes to lock it in place. Whilst I remember, another thing we haven't done is fit this blanking plug down here properly. It needs some PTFE on it as well. And that's a tower radiator fitted, nice and solid, and all ready for our conversion. Okay, we're back on it. My little bits have arrived now with the courier, so we can finish the job. This morning I managed to get the architraves and skirting boards finished in this room. So all we've got to do now is fill up the fluid. I've just gone ahead and fitted our box, our control box to the wall. The wiring's all finished. So now we are using this lovely stuff, which is not a fizzy drink. It is like a glycol and deionized water mix. Supposedly that helps distribute the heat a little bit better, but mainly it's a inhibitor, so there's no chance that any corrosion is going to happen in here because it's going to be a bit of a sealed unit. Now, one last thing we need to make sure we do is leave a bit of a gap at the top. That's really based on volume, but I'm just going to use it on height. So I'm just going to come down and just see where 10% of that would be. So we're kind of here. That in there. As I fill it up, I can, as soon as it touches that, that's going to fall in, isn't it? It's
making the right sound.
Well, as long as it's not coming out the bottom. Along here. So it's getting there, and we have got our cardboard dipstick, but a non-scientific way that seems to be working is the ring, the sound of each rung. Now, I'm no physicist or musician, but I reckon we're at about here. Down here, lower pitch. C sharp. It's not my xylophone. Right, I reckon we're around here. So it's there. Oh, good guess. It's all sealed then, and we can finish off the other one before firing it all up and commissioning. Right, we're back to the column radiator now, and finally everything's arrived. So the heating element is a slightly different one. This is a bit more like a conventional heating element. It's very simple, no controls at all. It's simply on or off, which is all we need for our system. So this one I think is 1000 watts. And like I was saying, it is quite long, so you need to make sure it will fit in your radiator. Now comes the next fill up, and we're going to see how much we've got left. I think we've got half of the liquid left. I might have to top it up with a little bit of water for now. But we need to leave that 10% expansion gap again, so I'm going to count our rungs and fill it up on its side. We are over halfway. Now it's a bit of an afterthought this, so we're not in an ideal position as far as the relationship between the unit, the fuse spur and the radiator. We could have tried to run it all within our service cavity, which is the void behind the plasterboard, but I'm thinking maybe I'll take it down along the skirting board and up and just use some really discreet little trunking. So for that reason, I'm going to leave all the flex in place for now, just so we can get everything up and running. Now, if you hadn't seen me do it on the others, you get these little rubber seals, like little grommet things. Slide the whole thing through. If you are going to use one of these, perhaps you need to integrate a couple of electric radiators into your central heating system and you're already on this Wiser system. Then in order to do that, you want to make sure your radiator is kind of a dumb radiator, i.e. this one here just needs an on and an off. The other one that we've put into the bathroom remains on its setting, so you don't have to, it doesn't have its own control pad. So when I was speaking to Wiser about this video and about our plans, they just made sure to emphasise use a radiator that's not smart in itself. Because some things do have Wi-Fi built in, but like I said, we have used those before and they're not the best interface. So I'm really hoping that this app is going to be a little bit more slick. So that is all the wiring done. We're ready to fit it to the plate and fire up this system. Aha! One. So I've actually just read on here, we can use this manually before setting up with the system. So in order to just check everything's heating up properly, we can put our fuse in, turn it on. So now we should have power coming into here. And it's on. Okay, so I think we're at a point now where we can find the app. Alright, we've done our location, add devices, press the setup button once. Now I'll have to fess up, the electrician hasn't been yet, so we've got some extra fuse spurs and things to be putting in the utility. So I've got a temporary surface mounted setup here. So turn it on, we've got power, continue. Right, Wiser has joined the Wi-Fi network. Right, while we let that do its configuring and joining everything together, let's have a look. Oh, we've got heat. We've got heat. So the heating element is just over half the length, maybe a bit more actually. So I would expect it to be a bit cooler down here, but there's still plenty of heat. That's pretty toasty up here. It's always going to be much more of a gradual heat or a slower warm-up time with electric than it would be if you had hot water just flushing straight through it. However, I think once it's up at temperature, it should be fine. So we've added the hub. Now I've set it up as a gas boiler. I don't think that lag or whatever that determines should matter for us because our electric heating switches are just simply on and off. So I'm going to add the electrical heating switch. We need to make sure they're wired and powered before proceeding. Press the set button until it flashes green. Amazing. Control type, pilot wire or relay. Oh, questions. I'm going to leave it as relay. So this is, we'll put living room. Bathroom. Right, I feel like we're almost on a roll now. Now we need to add these things. We're going to at least do the one in the living room. So we're going to add room thermostat. And we even get batteries. That's always a nice thing. So we want to say that this is going to control the living room. You probably wouldn't normally put them up this high, but you know, when you've got kids that like to push buttons. So bathroom, even this time of year, we're going to want the towel radiator to come on. Alright, there we go. So we're definitely not using this to its full potential, but we've got 6:15, it will come on in the morning. We've whacked it all the way up to 29.5. So for the summer period where we just want warm towels or dry towels, that will do it. And then during the day, in the winter, we'll make sure that this just keeps an ambient temperature. And again, we can put it on for an extra bit in the evening so we can ramp that temperature up. So now, rather than doing that on every day, because that's for Thursday, I can copy it, copy this day, and then we want to apply it to all. Now, all of these days should appear the same. Now the living room is on its defaults at the moment, and to be quite honest, I doubt this room ever drops below 19, so I'm probably going to leave it at that, and then later on in the year we can amend this as we see fit. So what else is on here that might be of use to us? Well, a radiator thermostat, that's like a TRV, that would be really helpful if we had a regular central heating system, so you could incorporate a mixture of both the electrical and central heating. Obviously we don't have that here. Underfloor heating, again, a useful way to go. but it does look like you can have a smart plug. There are a few things where a plug like that would be really helpful here, both indoor and outdoor. So I will look into that, and maybe we can look at using some of those. That's probably a bit too close to the towel radiator, so I put the stand on it for now. It probably will end up down the side of a sofa or in a child's bed, but for now we'll leave it there just so we've got the ability to change things up. So in reality, in a bathroom, we're kind of wanting it to always be at its max because this is a towel radiator, and therefore we want it to come on whatever the temperature is. Right, we better actually make sure that this one works, because remember, although this isn't a smart one, it does have its own power button and the ability to change the level of power. Right, this is saying 23.5, so that's what the stat is reading for this room. And of course we don't want the heating to be on now, but we do need to test it. So if I drag this slider up until we get past that point, things clicked behind me. So that heating switch is now live. The green light is on, which is taking power through to our element. And fortunately, it does not require me to actually press anything. It's gone back into its last setting. So you can see it's on 4 out of the 5. And I can cycle that up or back down to 1. So I think we'll probably just leave it on 4 or 5. And it should be able to now heat the whole radiator. Right, I've just come back to this radiator. The nice thing is it's been off for 40 minutes and it's still nice and warm, so that's good. It's showing it's holding its heat, and there's a lot of metal in this, so I guess that's going to help as well. I think we should probably just double check that this one clicks on and off as well. We could do this one. We'll try using the stat on the wall. Right, so this is reading out 23 on the wall, and you can see the bottom figure I think is what it's set at. So if we bump that up, see if we can go over the 23. And I've just heard it click behind me. Right, I've just been to sort something out with the tractor, come back, we'd left this on, so it's been about half an hour now, and I can tell you what, a 1000 watt element in here is perfect, because even that air gap at the top is warm. It's an even temperature all the way across, and it's at temperature, well, at the temperature I would expect central heating to be at. Right, well, I kneel down here in shorts and t-shirts talking about heating on a really hot day. I'm really impressed with the app. I think that speaks for itself, and it's not glitchy, there's no lag, and I've used them before, different apps, and that's usually where the problem lies. I haven't tried it automated with the smart speakers and things like that, but I will try that as well. I think the next thing to do would be to test out the TRVs and add them onto the system, but I don't have a central heating system here. Whether we'll be able to incorporate this into the big house build in the future, it'd be interesting. But I know, having chatted with Charlie a few times over at Charlie DIY, he has used the TRVs on the same system, and he's been getting on with them well. So I'll put a link to his video if I can find it, and that might be even better, because you'll be able to see how it works on a central heating system as well as an electric heating system. My final thought of the day is this system with the electric heat switch should work on a dual fuel system in a towel radiator. A dual fuel system is basically where you have a heating element like this going into a T-piece at the bottom of your normal flow and return. So if you've got a towel radiator and it's plumbed into your house boiler system, but you don't want to heat the whole floor or the whole house in the summer, and all the pipework to reach it, what you can do is put a heating element in. Therefore, you could have your TRVs all set up on the app. You could then put this heating element into the dual fuel bit, which means in the summer you could change over to electric and still control everything through the app for your towel radiators. So at some point, once we've decided on the other radiator to go in this room, we're going to get on and fit another one in the future. But I insulated this building really well, and it's proving to be pretty cozy as it is. So it might be that between this and a log burner down this end, we should be okay. If not, I'm going to put a smaller version over on the other side, and we can link those together. Now I think this thermostat will then be able to be in the same group as those two heaters, and this will just be treated as one zone. Big thanks to Drayton for sending over these bits and sponsoring the video, but I will leave it there. Thank you all for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.